Spartan Invest was built to take the guesswork completely out of real estate investing. In this overview, our team is going to walk you through every step of our process, starting from how we analyze the properties on the acquisition side, all the way to how we handle maintenance work orders within our property management company. Our goal of this video is to take a deep dive into every step of our process so you can feel confident about investing and partnering with Spartan Invest.
Our mission, in a nutshell, it's real simple. We're here to provide people the opportunity to own turnkey real estate that otherwise would be unattainable to them, right? So we're going out, we're finding all the properties, we're doing all the work to make them rent ready. We're working in a variety of markets with different price points. Then we go ahead and find the tenants for you. So really, if we had a big red easy button, we would let you push it, because that is our mission, is to make owning turnkey property as easy as possible. The process, how do we do this? Well, first, it starts by trying to find the properties, and we have an entire team of people that scour all of our market areas, constantly looking for the best opportunities for you, the investor. We find the house, we then get to work on renovating the property, really focusing a lot on those CapEx items. So in the long run, you should have lower costs as far as property maintenance and things of that nature. Could be new construction, because we also do have new construction opportunities as well. So once you've chosen either a renovated or a new construction property, we move you into the closing process. As the closing comes to a conclusion, we then will transition to the property management team. Something that you should really consider when choosing a turnkey company is, where's the accountability? Is there a pay per performance model in place? Because that's super important, because we renovated that property, we're then going to be maintaining that property. And that is really a vital component to you owning that turnkey property.
Getting the rent right. I get this question all the time, you guys. So a lot of times, we on our pro formas, we have a rent range, and it's $100 spread from the high end to the low end. One of the questions we get a lot is, the rent that we have on the pro forma, is it accurate? And we actually take a very conservative approach on our must rent number that's on the pro forma. We've got a $100 rent range from the high end to the low end. We use the midpoint, or the must rent number, to project rates of return. The investor always wants to know, though, is that rent achievable? And the answer is absolutely yes. And how do I know? How can I lend assurance to you that we know what we're talking about? We have got 14 years of leasing and renting properties in all of these areas that we've been in for a very long time. So market experience is number one. Quarterly rent audits is number two. We want to make sure that our rents that we are offering are in alignment with market conditions. For the right bedroom, bathroom count, we will deliver, and actually more oftentimes exceed that rent expectation that you see on the pro forma. And the other thing we have to do really well, guys, is getting the renovation correct. And just look at some of these photos that you're looking at here. This is the workmanship of the Spartan renovation team. And you can see it is beautifully done. It has got lots of appeal to our renters. Really doesn't hinder us at all from renting properties because of the finer finishes that we use, like the 12 by 17 ceramic tile, the granite countertops, the new kitchen cabinets where needed, the nice landscaping out on the front. And so, we follow a rule that applies to the large CapEx. And so we're not going to leave you, the investor, at risk by leaving an old roof or an old HVAC system in that rental property. We're going to put on new metal roofs, new HVAC systems, new water heaters. All of those come with manufacturer's warranties. Everything on the interior is hardscape. So no carpet, guys. Please promise me you will never buy a rental property with carpet. Always hardscape. We use long-term durable materials so that our investor can defer the maintenance for as long as possible and keep more money in your pocket. So there might be some investors out there that would look at some of these houses and go, is this a house that you would live in? And that's not necessarily, right? But it's something that is going to appeal to a renter. And that's what we're thinking of when we are renovating properties. We're really thinking about the first impression of when a prospective renter walks into one of our homes. And, you, the investor, you may want I don't know, a McMansion, or maybe you want 5 bedrooms and a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath doesn't seem really appealing to you. But it's very appealing to our renters who all have different budgets, who all have different needs. And so some houses that are just a 2-1 and others that are, a 4-3. We appeal to all of renters, so we have a larger rental pool to pull from so that we can fill these properties with tenants for our investors for cash flow. We have a mantra, and it is something that you guys, I definitely want to share with you. We operate internally with the 3 M's of property renovations: more, must, and maintenance. We ask ourselves these 3 specific questions on every single property. Will a tenant pay more for a feature? Is it an absolute safety must? And will it reduce long-term maintenance? The 3 big M's. Looking at the CapEx items, we are advocates for replacing the HVAC system. We install metal roofs. They have a longevity of 45 years or longer. New water heaters, 10-year warranty on all of those. Granite countertops really helps increase the rent that we can command from the market, because most other rental properties in our areas do not have granite installed. And it's long lasting, very durable and beautiful. And all new flooring throughout, all waterproof and exceptionally beautiful.
Why turnkey single family rentals? Well, first off, here at Spartan, we want to help investors get involved in real estate, but not just get involved in real estate, but be able to take advantage of all aspects of real estate investing. We want you to be able to see appreciation, cash flow, principal buy down, and tax benefits. Not only that, here at Spartan, we've been doing this for over 12 years. So we understand these markets on a granular basis, the renovations, how to bring them to market, and how to communicate with you. Lastly, in a single family environment, you can typically move these properties. If you need to exit the property, you can move these properties to a homeowner or another investor, which in many cases is not as easy in a large multifamily environment. Most of our purchase prices are around 120 to 250K, and it just makes for an easy transition. Right here, I want to showcase an example of one of our purchase properties in 2025. This property is a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, and we have an assortment of properties and sizes. Many of our properties are in that 40s to 70s range, and you'll see that on the top right-hand side, just the statistics and details of the property itself, whether it's on sewer, septic, and whether that property is completed or what the completion date will be. On the bottom left side, you'll see more details around the pro forma itself. See the purchase price at the top and the rent range. And this is very important because the rent range provides a range. Our target's the middle, or in this case, $1,175. But in many cases, we see that upper end of the range achieved, but this pro forma is based off that target. We also do our homework on the front end and look at taxes and get an insurance quote for each property that we put out there so that you don't have to do that. Lastly, our PM fees or property management fees, and this is our standard property management fee without any promotions. All right, so at the bottom here, you're going to see an annual net, a cash purchase, or a cap rate return, or net, and then you're going to see a cash on cash return. Those numbers will differ. And the way that's calculated is at the $11,351 here, you're going to divide that net number by the purchase price because there is no amortization, and you're going to net out the insurance, taxes, and other factors. For the lower amount, the $3,011, you're going to divide by your down payment amount, or 20% in this case. On our second page, we also factor in some maintenance and vacancy so that you can get an idea of what cash reserves should look like. One of the great opportunities you'll have with Spartan Invest is a new construction purchase. Corinth Construction is our sister company, and they build these from the ground up. So it just speaks to our vertical integration. The benefits of a new construction home are energy efficiency. They have a 1-year home warranty, generally less maintenance, and overall faster appreciation in most markets. Generally, you're going to see a lower cash on cash return as far as the rent ratios, etc. However, you make up for this in other areas of the investment that I just mentioned. The purchase price is going to be between that $250 and $315 mark, and the rents obviously are going to follow suit at a $1,600 to $2,500. Here you'll find a new construction pro forma. As you'll see again on the top right side, you're going to see all the details of the pro forma of the property itself. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, It's got a modern 2-car garage, square footage is ample, etc. On the bottom left side, just like our renovated properties, you're going to notice that it's going to have the same exact layout. In this case, you'll see the purchase price is $270. The rent range is going to be $1,800 to $1,900, and in many cases, you'll see us get the upper end of that rent range, even though the target is $1,850, and that's what this pro forma is based on. Annual taxes typically are going to be a little higher with new construction properties. However, your insurance rates are typically going to be lower because it is newer in all aspects. Lastly, you're going to look at insurance. In this particular case, you're going to see a 5% PM fee, but our normal management fee is 9%. But there are promotions from time to time that we include. So you'll see a net cash flow if you purchase this property with cash, and that's $18K. And then you'll see a $3,700 cash flow, and that's factoring in 20% down in the purchase. On the cap rate, you'll see a 6.83%, and that's simply dividing that 18,000 divided by that 270K. And the cash on cash return, you're looking at the 3,000 divided by the 20% down mark.
The absolute most important decision you will ever make as a real estate investor is who you hire to be your property management company. The home's important, the street's important, the renovation's important, but I cannot stress how important enough selecting the right property management company is. You want that company to be incentivized through a paid performance business model that is working to get the outcomes that you, the investor, are seeking. And an Atlas rental property, we do it with, we do the basic functions. You can read them here. We lease and occupy properties. We do tenant screening and applications. We collect the rent. We evict tenants that are non-paying. We do the maintenance and the move-outs and the turnovers. And we have a great customer service team. But the thing that I really want to emphasize here is that Atlas rental property, we take to heart being very good stewards of our investors' capital and making good decisions on that capital. From who we place into the property, the strict, regimented, thorough background check that we do, the application process. We do charge prospective renters a fee for us to process their rental application. We love paying investors. Well, we do the deposits into their accounts at last business day of every single month. We are sticklers for the maintenance and the turnover. Our turnover team's got to turn over the property in 12 days or less. That's a metric that they're measured on in order to earn their quarterly bonus. So there's a lot of accountability. I have to highlight the screening team and my accounts receivable team, because you guys think about this. Think about how aligned we are with your results. Our screening and our screening team, they are paid and bonused on our eviction rate, right? So they have an incentive to ensure that they place the most highly qualified resident in that property to get it to performing for many, many years to come, so that they can earn and you can earn. It's a win-win, and that's exactly how our property management company is set up. And lastly, communication is key. There are two things that we pride ourselves in, is transparency and reporting and proactive communication. We have a dedicated customer service team in-house that is communicating with our 800, actually around 1,000 now, 1,000 plus investors on a quarterly basis, more through email and text, but quarterly phone calls to update our investors on how their portfolio is performing. And we want to keep the warm and fuzzy because we want a long-term business working relationship with our investors for years to come. You guys, we have a phenomenal leasing team, all licensed leasing agents that are out there in the field working daily to fill these properties with the most qualified residents. So from placing the signs to showing the property, to scheduling the showings, to following up with prospective renters, we've got boots on the ground interfacing directly with these prospective investors, because we really want them to feel warm and welcoming, that they are looking for their home that they're going to reside in. So the leasing agents, they are in the field, they are processing the applications, they're doing the background checks. Actually, that's the accounts receivable team. They're doing the background checks. And, we actually we dive deep into their background. We're verifying their income, verifying their identity. We're verifying their employment. We're checking with 2 previous property management companies for references. We're pulling credit. We're looking at their credit score. Additionally, we're looking at their last 3 years of credit card payment history for any lates or missed. We're looking for the right tenant who pays their rent, because that's what we need to ensure for you. There's a lot of services that we offer. One of them is we will place a renter in the property. There is a fee that we charge to do that. It's either a half month's rent or a full month's rent, depending if it's a 1 year or 2 year lease. And if we fail, we even have a fail safe for you guys. If we fail to place a qualified resident in the property by day 60, that placement fee is reduced in half. If we get to 90 days of vacancy on the initial placement, we'll waive that fee altogether. And if we get to 120 days of vacancy on the initial placement, we implement what's called the mortgage guarantee, where Spartan will pick up and pay and deposit the amount of your mortgage every single month into your account until we have a qualified resident occupying your property. So we've got skin in the game too. I don't want to pay your mortgage. Love you guys. Don't want to pay your mortgage. However, there's a fail safe there just in case of that situation ever happening. And we measure the number of security deposits that we get per week. We average about 16 per week, and my accounts receivable team, my property management team, they are held accountable to delivering an occupancy rate of 95% or higher, so that our internal team is working for you. You guys, you can rely on our team to really do a thorough, regimented background check to ensure that we are placing the most qualified resident in the property. Now, we do have to operate by fair housing compliance guidelines, which we do. And so there's several factors that we look at. One of them is the applicant's credit score. We dig into their credit history. We've got to make sure that they have a history of paying their bills. So not only do we pull their credit, we look at the last 3 years of credit card payment history. We're looking for any lates or missed payments. We're looking for that consistent payment so that we can put a consistent payer in your property to give you the result that you're looking for. We do have another requirement, which is their net income has to be at least 2.5 times the monthly rent. We need to know that they have enough money coming in to pay the rent that we're asking for. We have some other criteria, which is, I call it no active bankruptcies at the time, and no evictions or convictions. I like that little term because it really does apply to the criteria that we're looking for whenever we're screening an applicant. And then we need favorable references. We'll go back and check 2 previous property management companies to see if they are a viable candidate for renting one of our properties.
One of the biggest benefits of working with Spartan Invest is that we focus on landlord-friendly states. That's a very big deal. And if you've ever experienced an unlandlord-friendly state in the eviction process, you understand that all too well. Our process is very smooth, and on average, it takes us just under 90 days to get an eviction all the way through the process. If a tenant is late, that's usually on the 5th day, and there's a 10% late fee. After that, we can post a notice of eviction. If they don't return any response from that, we get to file a unlawful detainer through our local attorney. At that point, if they still don't go through with the process or communicate with us, a judgment can be given from the local judge or jurisdiction. The process is quite smooth, and it's a huge benefit to working in the Southeast, especially Alabama and Tennessee. With any purchase of any rental property across the nation, you have to be cognizant of maintenance and protecting yourself through reserves. Here at Spartan, we usually recommend the 5% rule. That's just simply 5% of the annual revenue goes back into a bank account so that you can be safe if you have a maintenance item. Secondly, we do everything we can to prevent you from having issues or being hands-on in this process, meaning we have a 24/7 maintenance call center. We help with tenant turnovers or handle them all together. We have annual inspections that we offer, and we pay the invoices on the owner's behalf. Again, it's all about being passive, and the turnkey, a true turnkey approach, is just that. And Spartan Invest excels in that.
Spartan Invest wants to make real estate investing accessible to all. That's why right now we're offering a 5.5% interest rate on all of our properties. Whether it's your first or your 5th, this rate allows investors to continue to build their portfolio confidently despite market fluctuations. As a way to sweeten the deal for those investors who are interested in purchasing multiple properties, right now we're offering our 333 deal. Now, what this means is that any investor can purchase up to 3 properties and get 3% property management fee for up to 3 years. With Spartan Invest handling every step of the process, from the renovations all the way to leasing the property, that's the ticket to true passive income. If you're interested in investing in real estate in a more streamlined, stress-free way, then reach out to us. We'd love to talk.